You are welcome to lecture 4 of ENG 407, Language and National Development. Before now, we have looked at the concept of language, the properties of language, and the functions of language. We also trimmed down the issue of language by considering the language situation in Nigeria. And since this course has two sides, of which the first side has been covered in the previous lectures, talking about language, we are going now into the second side, which has to do with development. That's why lecture 4 is going to center on development. We are going to look at the concept of development, what it means, what are the things that make up development, how can we identify that development has taken place. First, we want to look at the meaning of development. Development refers to the process of positive change and progress in various aspects of a society, including social, economic, political, and cultural dimensions. So when we talk about development, development has to do with positive change, a change that is positive in nature, moving from what is not so good or something bad to something good, or from a good situation to a better situation, using the parameter of social, economic, political, and cultural dimensions. So when we talk about development, we talk about improvements in living standards, infrastructure, education, healthcare, governance, and overall well-being of individuals in a particular community. So development will not be considered to have taken place if there is no improvement in the standard of living of a set of people in a particular community. So this development must cut across infrastructure, education, healthcare, governance, and the overall well-being of the people. When we talk about development, it is a multi-dimensional concept because it has to enhance the quality of life and opportunities of individuals and the communities in which they live. Therefore, for us to achieve meaningful development, governments, organizations, and individuals have to pursue activities that will bring about the achievement of sustainable growth and address social challenges. So, for development to have taken place, there must be sustainable growth and the societal challenges must have been greatly addressed. More than what we have said, we will need to point that it is difficult to give a straightforward definition. No definition of development is all-encompassing. We can only define or talk about development in relation to a particular context. It is specific based, which will be difficult to look at development in all its entirety. But that being said, generally, development can be said to be the process of advancing and improving the conditions of a society or nation. Because achieving a situation where all that is necessary for people to be considered that their well-being has been improved or has been improved upon, or societal challenges have been drastically addressed, will take a long time. It doesn't happen by chance or at a go. It is a process. So development is a process. It doesn't happen by chance. It doesn't happen accidentally. It involves some process, some positive changes in the areas of economic growth, human well-being, social equity, and environmental sustainability. So it is not only about economic growth, not only about economic progress, not only that a country has so millions or billions of dollars in its reserve, is operating the best economy across the globe or across a particular block, whether in Africa, in Europe. That is not enough. The progress that is being talked about from an economic point of view must reflect in the lives of the people in that country, in that community. So it's a broad issue that must affect the development, advancement of the people, their well-being. No matter what a government is earning or a country is earning, that country will not be considered to have earned anything if what has been earned does not contribute to the welfare of the people of that particular country. Now, I want to look at development, the relevance of development to language and national development. How do we say language has something to do with development, or development has something to do with language in relation to national development according to the course title, Language and National Development? The relationship, what is the relevance between development or between language and national development? So the relevance of development to language and national development is very critical because language plays a crucial role in shaping and expressing cultural identities, facilitating communication, and fostering social cohesion. If there is no unity in a country, if there is chaos in a particular country, it will be very difficult for such a country to record development. And for such crisis to be controlled or um, taken care of, there is need, there will be need for individuals to come together, discuss issues, and then provide solutions. Doing this will involve the use of language, communicating ideas, expressing um opinions, differences will not be done without the use of language. So in the context of national development, issues like language policies and practices can only be done with the use of language, putting language in the center of discussion. So the kind of language policies and practices in place in a particular country has a lot of implications on how far such a country will experience development. So effective language planning and policies that promote multilingualism, multilingualism, linguistic diversity, and inclusive language education will actually contribute to social integration, equitable access to opportunities, and cultural preservation. Things that will encourage development are inclusive language education, addressing multilingualism, linguistic, addressing linguistic diversity, ensuring social integration, ensuring equitable access to opportunities, and cultural preservation. So there must be some planning and policies about language effect. This should be done effectively. There must be effective planning and policies that take language into consideration for us to achieve all this. Failure to achieve what language policies, effective language planning and policies should achieve for a particular country will bring about failure to achieving national development. Therefore, language is essential for effective governance, administration, education, economic activities. In order for us to have national development, no strategy will be put in place and work if the way language is supposed to be used is not put into consideration. By and large, recognizing the importance of development across disciplines, across different aspects of human life, be it political, be it economic, be it cultural, and so on, and understanding the importance of development from those angles through language and national development requires stakeholders to work towards comprehensive, inclusive approaches that harness the power of language to foster sustainable and equitable development outcomes. So for us to have sustainable and equitable national development outcomes, emphasis will need to be placed on language and is used for the promotion of national development. There are several theories about development. Some of them are Adam Smith's theory of specialization. We also have Auguste Comte's law of three stages theory. We have Walt Rostow's theory of three stages. So those theories are theories one can look into while explaining the concept of development. Since development is an international, a global phenomenon, there has been a reason for setting out what we call Millennium Development Goals by the United Nations in the year 2000. The aim of setting out these 8 goals is to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, achieve universal primary education, promote gender equality, reduce child mortality, United improve United Nations improved maternal health, combating diseases like HIV/AIDS and malaria, ensuring environmental sustainability, and develop global partnerships. So these MDGs seek to address development challenges and bridge the gap between the rich and the poor across the globe. So through cooperations among the nations of the world. So the essence of it for the United Nations to achieve a global development experience, these MDGs were set out. And as mentioned, they are 8 in number and listed accordingly. Eradication of extreme poverty and hunger, achievement of universal primary education, promotion of gender equality, reduction of child mortality, improvement of maternal health, combating diseases like HIV/AIDS, malaria, and other diseases, so that in order to provide universal access to HIV treatment, environmental sustainability, through which proportion safe water will be provided, and developed global partnerships. So that is for global, from a global perspective. So nations of the world are expected to key into these MDGs so that they will be able to achieve um, these goals in their countries, and by that promote national development. As you have said, national development is something that will cut across a particular country, different aspects of life. So combining national with development will create a kind of challenge by which a generally acceptable definition can be given, like what happened when talk about development. But no matter what that may be, addition of national to development is emphasizing the fact that that development belongs to a particular nation, a situation where there is progressive transformation of a particular nation's economic, social, and political structures, leading to desirable expectations, achievement of desirable expectations, which will take care of the well-being of the people of that particular country. So national development is not a destination but an ongoing process as development itself. So a country may not arrive at national development at a time. It is a consistent process. It is something that we that has to be worked on. So each country is expected to focus on addressing its specific needs and priorities to enhance the well-being and quality of life of its citizens. We want to look at the parameters for measuring national development, which are referred to as phases of national development in this lecture. One of them is economic development, whereby there is improvement in the material well-being of citizens through equitable wealth distribution, enhanced access to healthcare and education, and increased per capita income. So the number of those who are poor in that country will reduce. So the poverty level will reduce. So if there is actually the achievement of national development in such a country. The next parameter is political development, which emphasizes the establishment of democratic system or systems that guarantee citizens freedom, participation in decision making, and protection of their rights. This emphasizes a situation where the vote of the people of a particular or that particular country will count. The person they believe in for the change they expect or they look forward to is actually the one that is electoral process of the country makes to be their leader, the leader of the people. So if there is national development politically, people's freedom, participation in electioneering or other political activities, and their rights will be greatly protected. We also have cultural development, whereby there is nurturing of the country's distinctive way of life. What is unique about Nigeria is sustained in the forms of values, traditions, arts, and institutions. So what people believe in, what has made a kind of citizen the country we have to be sustained, a culture that has to do with individuals that recognizes his or her responsibilities to his country and good representation of his country within and outside the country is maintained. So it is crucial to recognize that cultural improvement does not mean that one will begin to imitate other people or cultures of other people outside one's country. But it has to do with one having confidence in the identity and aspirations that are peculiar to one's country. So we have looked at those spaces through which national development can be measured, and they include economic, political, and cultural parameters. Now, do we have objectives for us in Nigeria towards achieving national development? Yes, we have them, and they include one, a free and democratic society. Country is looking forward to achieving a free and democratic society. Two, a just and egalitarian society where everybody will enjoy freedom regardless of his or her background or political, religious, or ethnic affiliations. Three, a unified, strong, and self-reliant nation that will not depend upon some international powers for survival. Four, a great and dynamic economy. Number five, a land of bright opportunities for all citizens. A country where young citizens will not be thinking of Japa, will not be thinking of running out of it. A country that citizens will be proud of, will want to run to for their successes, for their progress, for their personal development. Such is a country that the national development of the objectives of Nigeria has are spelled out. So, what is the link between language and national development? Is there any uh, relationship between language and national development? Yes, one of them is language, thought, and national development. Since language is the tool by which human beings express themselves, by which human beings make their thoughts to be known. So, if that is the case, we cannot take away language from national development because it will help individuals who will work towards the achievement of national development to shape their understanding about the concept of national development, what it means to achieve national development. So it will both allow Nigerians, in this case, to formulate terms, concepts that will help them to achieve the objective they have set out, and as well comprehend and discuss complex ideas about the achievement of those objectives. Therefore, the comprehension of national development is dependent on language. If we don't understand what it means to achieve national development, there is a little we will contribute towards the achievement of it. But language has provided itself as a useful tool for us to achieve that. Another way by which there is a link between language and national development is that language is or can be used as the tool for communicating national development. Whatever the country is looking forward to achieve within a very specific time, whatever the goal the country has set towards arriving at national development is not expected to be limited to individuals, in this case government, working towards achieving that. This has to be disseminated to the citizens of the country. And doing this will require a means. There will be jingles on TV, on radio, through social media that will enlighten people, create awareness uh, on the need for people to work together with the government of the day to achieve national development. Doing this requires the use of language. Language is the only way by which this can be achieved. There is no other means. Even if one uses cartoons, one uses symbols, one uses any form of transmitting the information. The interpretation of all those objects or signs or symbols still depends upon language. In fact, they are some forms of language in themselves. Another link, another relationship between, or another point that brings about the reality of the relationship between language and national development is that language is a tool for documenting national development. If the state has put it forward, what is looking forward to achieve that will bring about national development, such a thing needs to be written down. Such a thing needs to be documented. Such a thing needs to be preserved so that it will not end with the, the pioneers of the ideas or idea. Therefore, there is no other way by which such a thing could be documented if language is not used. So, documenting ideas about national development depends on language. So for us to achieve, sometime some people will come that by so year, this is what we want to achieve. How are they going to achieve such objective? What processes will be involved? All this will be put together using language and documenting the processes, the procedures, or the objectives will serve as a reminder for those who are carrying such out, for those who will come after them later until the goal is achieved. So there is no way by which a country will achieve national development by doing away with the importance of language. Language is very, very important. So in this fourth lecture, we have looked at the concept of language. We have looked at it from the point from a global perspective. We then trimmed it down to national development and then look at the relationship between language and the achievement of national development. Follow the questions that will come after the presentation. Provide answers to those questions. In case you score less than 70%, you can go through the presentation again before you go back to the questions in order for you to score at least 70%. Thank you for listening.